reasonable success. But it made neither Beethoven nor my theatre a huge amount of money. It was so damn stubborn. Idealistic, you see.
I don't think you could possibly have given me my right percentage.
Well, we can only pay you your agreed percentage. Ludwig, please, do count it again.
I don't need to count it again. I'm not stupid!
You are only paid this very generous amount.
Generous?
You are paid this very generous percentage because we all hold you in the highest esteem. But the fact remains, Ludwig, the house was under half full. Now, your music plays to a cultural audience, of course. Yes, it does. But, well, take the magic flute, for instance. Now, that really did rouse the multitude.
I don't compose for the multitude.
If we had paid Herr Mozart the same percentage of the receipts of his operas, well, he would have been a very rich man.
What are you saying?
Nothing.
I think you should raise your Herr Mozart from the dead. Because the performances of this opera are finished.
What do you mean?
I mean what I said.
Oh, now, Ludwig, please.
Good day. Good God!
Beethoven was true to his word and locked away the score of his opera, but he didn't forget it. In Leonora, he'd created the woman who perfectly embodied fidelity and womanhood. But in real life, she was much harder to find.
Herr Beethoven had a great liking for female society. If ever he saw a charming face, we would often share a knowing look. He was always falling in love, usually with his piano students, but generally the passion did not last long, and of course often they were already spoken for. But that didn't stop him hoping. Finding a wife, the perfect wife, was very important to him.
Oh, beloved Josefina, it is no desire for the opposite sex that draws me to you. No, it's just you. Your whole self with all your individual qualities. This has bound all my feelings, all my emotional power to you.
One of the piano students Beethoven fell in love with was Countess Josefina Dem, a widow and mother of 4.
My parents arranged my betrothal to Count Dem. He died just before I had my 4th child. Beethoven often used to come to our house. And after I was on my own, we became very close. I can't deny it. I loved being with him. His music was so powerful. It could cheer me up or make me cry. And he was a kind man and good with my children. But as to anything more permanent, that was different. Beautiful, Ludwig.
Have you had a chance to think about my proposal? Do you not enjoy my company?
You know I do.
Do you not enjoy our lessons?
Yes, of course. And I have the greatest respect and admiration for you.
I see. Respect. Admiration. But not love.
Yes. No. But I have my position, my children to think of. How would we live? These things cost money.
Oh, I understand. I do. Me, a mere musician. A musician who's going deaf.
Countess Dem's refusal to marry dealt a crushing blow to Beethoven's hopes of finding love and marriage. Not only was his increasing deafness isolating him, but his uncertain financial status was also becoming an impediment to finding happiness.
At the time of his great disappointment with Josefina Dem, his brother Karl seemed to find real happiness in love. But Beethoven could never accept Karl's choice, and he did like to see himself the arbiter in all questions of morality.
Brother?
So, it's true then?
Yes. We are to be married.
Well, with all your distractions, I shall need to find someone else to look after my affairs.
No, I can still work. Johanna is expecting our first child, so I need...
Out of wedlock. A splendid work, brother. That's just splendid and true to form. And as for you, lady, I know you. And so does all Vienna.
Oh, yes, that's right. Nothing is ever good enough for the high and mighty Beethoven. Or is it that you can't bear to see somebody else being happy?
Get out.
Well, I knew him to be an unpredictable man. It is said men with great gifts have little time for pleasantries, but what had I done to deserve such harshness? And treating Karl, his brother, like an enemy? Perhaps I was not as fine a lady as the great composer was used to sharing company with. He made my head spin with his insinuations.
Beethoven was intolerant of those who didn't live up to his own high moral standards, unable to reconcile real people, real desires, with his own idealized vision of women.
Quite a beauty, isn't she?
Misunderstood and frustrated, Beethoven consistently felt isolated from those around him. At exactly this time, there's a typical example of how, consciously or subconsciously, the tensions in his life found expression and release in his music. He was writing a new piano sonata, which became known as the Appassionata. Its title tells you everything. This is music of violent rage, tragedy and despair. This sonata finds Beethoven in the depths of human suffering. The passion and turmoil caused by his failed love affair with Josefina and his ambivalent feelings towards his brother's happiness are woven into the very fabric of this music, which starts darkly at the lower register of the keyboard.